Hello all and welcome to All Red. There's no doubt in my mind that people will try to spark a new rivalry between Arne Slot and Pep Guardiola to continue on the Liverpool-Man City rivalry that has really been set for the past 9 years, ever since Klopp came in and ever since Pep came in. But I'm here today to tell you how Arne Slot is going to beat Pep Guardiola next year when Liverpool face Man City in the Premier League. So, here is the main reason why I think Arne Slot will have the advantage on Pep Guardiola. Now, this is set to be a little controversial, and later in this video, I'm going to spell out what I think the starting 11 and mid-game adjustments should be, and I'll diagram that all out. But for now, the main point I want to make is that Arne Slot is a master at taking historical data and preparing his team for a very specific task against a specific opponent. He did that as a player. He's done that as a manager. And I expect Arne Slot to do whatever it takes, no matter how ridiculous the measures, to come out against a manager like Pep Guardiola, who has a proven method, a proven playing style, has had the same players, core players, for a large amount of time, and all of that annual data for the past 6-7 years is going to feed into the Arne Slot machine. And Arne Slot is going to have the time to say to his players, here's how we beat Manchester City. Here's how they play. Here's how we win. And so I think Arne Slot will have a game plan that probably will look different than anything else we've ever seen. And I think he will be successful. Now, let's look at how he will line up against Pep Guardiola and Man City next season. Now, take into account this starting 11 doesn't account for any new signings because currently we don't know about any new signings. And so there could be some other players, hopefully, I'm hopeful, that Liverpool bring in that could slot into this starting 11. So, of course, Alisson Becker at the back. We've got Andy Robertson at left back. I know a lot of people are saying he's not fit anymore to be a starting left back for Liverpool. I disagree. I think he's going to be fresh this coming season. He'll be healthy, and I think he is set to have a really good year. He's a great fit for the Arne Slot system. Virgil van Dijk captaining Liverpool in his familiar role. And then I want to see Jarell Quansah. I want to see him kind of own this role next season. I think Konate could do the same, but I'm more hopeful for Jarell Quansah. I think he's a little bit more solid, a little bit more poised at the back, and I think he has a great future ahead of him. Don't forget, he was scoring goals at the end of last season. And then, of course, it's Trent Alexander-Arnold in the right back position. More to come on this in a little bit, because there's going to be a mid-game shift that I think Arne Slot will make and will employ quite a bit this season. In the midfield, I think if he's healthy and if he is up to speed, it's Stefan Bajcetic in this main defensive midfield role. Now, alongside of him, I have Alexis McAllister, who can function in a similar role, but will have more freedom to move forward with Bajcetic kind of owning that defensive midfielder role. So you could see during the game, Bajcetic coming in here, Alexis McAllister moving forward, as McAllister can have a little bit more faith and confidence in a true defensive midfielder who, by all intents and purposes, he is a 19-year-old with loads and loads of talent. Don't forget, he was looking like the defensive midfielder of the future as a 17-year-old when Klopp was in charge. So that's how they line up in the midfield. Now, here's a little bit of a controversial take. Mohamed Salah, I think, should probably move into this role. I don't know if he'll start here at the beginning of the season, but I think Mohamed Salah in this kind of 8 attacking midfield role would be incredible for Liverpool, because Salah doesn't have to be full speed ahead in this role. He can be more of the hub, what's the term? There's a really cool term for this. The nexus. Oh yeah, that's a cool word. The nexus, where we transition from defense or from defensive mid to this Salah role, this 8 role, where Salah can track back. He doesn't have to track all the way back, but Salah can stay here in the middle. He can be the one to face up away from goal, back towards goal. We know he can do that really well. And he can be the catalyst to play it out to McAllister or Bajcetic and get it up to our wings. He can also turn and he can play 1-2s with our wings. He can play 1-2s with our striker. And we know he will be dangerous no matter where he is in the attacking third. So I think Salah in this role is very interesting. I think he can have more longevity in this role, as he doesn't have to be bombing up and down that right side, trying to take players on 1v1. He can play that more controlled role. Don't forget about Andre Pirlo and how long he played at top levels in the Italian league. Even though he was super slow, he was still very effective into his mid to late 30s. All right, let's get into the right wing position. Now, again, this is basically saying Liverpool haven't signed anyone this summer, but I think Dominic Szoboszlai could be the next great thing on the right wing for Liverpool because he has loads and loads of pace. A lot of people say like, oh, he's not fast enough. Dominic Szoboszlai has recorded the 5th fastest time in Premier League history. He is very fast. We just haven't seen him do that for Liverpool because he hasn't played in this role. I think he has loads of speed, loads of talent. He's got the right tool set to be successful, and we know he can track back. So he can be the one. He's got an incredible engine. He can track back. He can help Trent Alexander-Arnold back here, as well as Bajcetic. And if he's able to get in and around and behind, he's an excellent passer, and we know he can score. So I think this would be a fascinating move, basically switching these two up a little bit and giving Szoboszlai, who's much younger, has a lot less miles on the tires, and letting Salah be more of the controlled maestro in the middle here. Now, let me bring this back up. Just misaligned it a little bit here. Now, what do we do on the left? Well, it's Diaz, and honestly, this could also be Gakpo. I would want to see, I think I'd want to see Luis Diaz go up against an aging Kyle Walker. We just saw in the Euros that Kyle Walker is starting to become a liability. And I think Luis Diaz would be the one to exploit that more than Cody Gakpo. Now, I think Cody Gakpo could do the same job, about the same job. Luis Diaz is a little bit more of a direct attacker, somebody who can take players on 1v1 and exploit some of those weaknesses. So here's what I could see Arne Slot doing. He could look at, okay, what has Kyle Walker been doing the past season or two? And then what did he do in the Euros? And how did teams like Spain exploit that right side of the defense? Well, you just keep hammering that ball down that side. Luis Diaz gets the ball every time we are on attack, and he has the freedom to go at Kyle Walker 1v1 as much as he wants and as much as he can. Because if there is a weakness, Arne Slot will find it and he will exploit it. And so I could see that Diaz versus Walker being a very key matchup for Liverpool to exploit. And then it's Darwin Núñez in the middle. Now, Darwin Núñez, we'll see what Arne Slot can do, what magic he can do with this guy, because there's clearly still some tweaks and improvements that need to be made, but Arne Slot is the right guy to make Núñez the right striker for Liverpool. Now, what are some mid-game adjustments that Arne Slot can do and take depending on how things go? So I think there's so many options here, so much versatility in this squad. And so let's look and see what we can do. First off, if we need to make a change where, let's say it's tied or maybe Liverpool are down by a goal, and we need a little bit more attacking prowess, or we just want to keep our foot on the gas. Let's say we're up by a goal or two and we just want to continue to pound. We know Arne Slot likes to do that. So let's say this becomes Trent Alexander-Arnold. He goes into the midfield and we bring Connor Bradley on, who potentially could be a stronger defender And with Trent Alexander-Arnold here, Connor Bradley could say, well, I don't have to go all the way up and join the attack because now we have Trent Alexander-Arnold and Alexis McAllister basically anchoring this defensive midfield section of the field, and both players have excellent attacking prowess. So that is one adjustment that could be made. The other thing that Arne Slot could do as kind of a mid-game adjustment is Mohamed Salah comes, I'll just type his name in here. Salah comes to his preferred right wing position after playing the first 67 minutes. In the mid, he still has somewhat fresh legs because he hasn't had to run as much here, even though this is kind of a box-to-box midfield position. But I think he would still be a little bit more fresh than he would be on the right wing. Now, we have, you could bring Szoboszlai back into that midfield role, or check this out. Diogo Jota comes in. Luis Diaz has been running at Kyle Walker all game, so he can go take a breather. And now you have Cody Gakpo running at you with fresh legs. That's scary. That's very scary. I'd be scared of that. I'd be very scared of that. And then just a few other things here. Of course, you could bring Jota here into the middle, and you could also bring Harvey Elliott. I can't type. Harvey Elliott. Is there one T or two? I don't know. Let me know in the comments. Bring Elliott, Jota, and check this out. What if you need some extra pace? What? Ben Doak? Bringing in Ben Doak in against Manchester City, giving the kids some freedom to run at a potentially tired defense in the last 10-15 minutes of the game. Hey, why not? Ben Doak is not afraid to go 1v1 with players. So very, very interesting here, the amount of changes that can be made. And we know that Pep Guardiola can be a little bit stubborn at times. And so if Arne Slot is willing to do some kind of weird and creative things based on the data that he has, I think Liverpool could be poised to be very successful against Manchester City next season.